Welcome back to The Perspective. What a great time to be alive. Q3 is over. Q4 is on us. I don't know. No better time to be in solar.
It's been a minute since we've been back in the studio. It just feels good to be back in here, giving us the opportunity to discuss really what happened in Q3. Got a lot to cover on today's Perspective.
Yeah, just as a reminder, so you remember, we were doing weekly perspectives. They will move to monthly for Q4 and Q1. So be watching out for these monthly updates.
We wanted to start with what matters most on today's Perspective, which is the mission of the business. The mission of the business is to help people to create real wealth so that they can live a life of purpose. And the way that we put that into goal format is we want to help 42 people become a net worth millionaire. With $18 million paid in commissions so far since we started the business 2 years ago, I could say that we're on our way.
Yeah.
And year 3 is the year we expect to see the first group of sales leaders and sales representatives hitting that net worth $1 million mark as a result of working at RDX Power. That's it. That's what matters. That's what drives us every single day. And we can't ever lose sight of that. I've just found when we make that the focus, every decision we need to make within the business gets so easy.
Yeah, you and I were in a meeting a few weeks ago and talking about decisions that we need to make. And there was an individual on the outside that said, "Hey, I saw your mission statement, and that's really cool. So as you're making these decisions," and his question was, what does it have to do with your mission, this decision you're trying to make? And honestly, every one of us paused and looked at it, and it's been a really awesome way to go make decisions in the business, because we're not going to go make a decision and do anything that doesn't drive us towards that ultimate goal.
We got an exciting announcement. One of the ways that we educate on helping our sales force and you to create wealth is the 42X conference. That's coming up here in January. And Nick, I think you got an update for us on that.
We have officially locked in the venue. It's in Logan, Utah again. It'll be on January 22nd, 2022. So 1/22/22. Good date for you to remember. We will be also, a little teaser, we will be announcing the keynote speaker at the DM retreat in Park City in October. So be looking for that. We have the keynote and the venue all lined up. And now it's just a matter of bringing each speaker in, like we did last year. And honestly, as we talk through the event, tweaking a few things here and there, just to make it that much better this next year.
Yeah, that event is an opportunity to just come and educate. And I found with building wealth, the best place to start is in education. Like, go really set that foundation of making sure you know that what to do with the money as you're making it within this solar opportunity. And that event is going to be fun. I'm glad that you kind of teased the keynote there without telling, but going to be fun to see that event play out. And as a reminder, our yearly award ceremony is also that same night. So that's for sure a weekend that you want to have every recruit you can think of. You want to be here, lock that into your calendars, block out the dates, make sure that you're there.
Yeah, such an awesome night to go celebrate. We jam-packed that day full, so you're going all day long, listening to these speakers at 42X, a little bit of a break, dinner, and then we hit the Radix Awards ceremony to celebrate everything that happened in 2021 here at Radix. We had a team that went and won the playoffs in August, and they've already been to Lake Powell and celebrated that win.
Nick, you've done a great job there. I got to give you some recognition. We decided on the National Sales League that we wanted to deliver as quickly as possible on incentives and competitions as they were happening, just so that was very real. And guys won it in August. They were on a houseboat a few weeks later, and that team, Preston Erickson, the Rowan region, congrats. That was a massive win. You guys worked your guts out. It was crazy to see how much went into the strategy and then the work ethic and the hours, sacrifices that put into it. But congrats. And we look to see some video and photos of that at some point of them celebrating down in Lake Powell. With that, we also had September, which in September, we kind of rounded out two things. One, the trip incentive, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. But we also started an incentive called the lineup. This was a recruiting incentive that went all month long, and we will be announcing the winners of the lineup here shortly. But I just got to say, the lineup was so fun. Like, guys were setting up meetings for their regionals were recruiting people. I've always felt like there are times when we have momentum in recruiting, and then you definitely notice the times when you don't. Right now, sitting here in this office today, I'm wondering how I have the time to be filming this perspective, because there's so much recruiting going on that I'm having a hard time staying on top of it. And I think I'm speaking for all of our leaders. If you're a leader and you're not opening your mouth and talking to people about Radix right now, you're missing the easiest time to recruit.
Yeah, it's an obvious time to go be the hunter right now. And September's been a lot of fun to watch that momentum and the mentality. I think in this business, relationships matter. And as part of those relationships, recruiting comes part of that. So honestly, such an exciting time at Radix, and watching all of these teams continue to grow. As we wrapped up the trip incentive in September, it was an opportunity not only to finish out Q3 strong, but a chance to go win a +1. We had a handful of people that were able to go and do that. We released those on the GroupMes as well as on Instagram story. So make sure you're going and follow those. If you have questions, reach out to Brandon Gifford if you're not sure if you were on the list or not. But we have been sending those invites out. We have been booking tickets. It by far is the best trip we have ever planned, the best gear, the best resort, the best beach. It's a top 10 beach in the world. So excited to go celebrate with everybody. And as far as fast delivery, from the moment it ended, 30 days later, you will find yourself on the beach from the end of that incentive.
I love it.
We did shift the dates. For those of you that don't know, it was on the 1st, it is now on the 2nd. That is due to most of the flights are red-eye flights. So this gives us the full time instead of spending that time on the airplane. So from the 2nd to the 7th is when that incentive will be delivered on in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, you got to figure anytime you're flying for 8 or 9 hours to get to a destination, it's a pretty unique destination. For sure, something I've never done as a company trip within this industry, and I'm really excited to be there in the Dominican Republic with everybody. It is the best part about doing this job. It's like the cherry on top that we all get to go celebrate together somewhere really cool. So congrats to all those that have won that. Let's go and review the numbers here for Q3. We did some spectacular things in Q3. Overall, when we look at the numbers for the company, they were unbelievable. Over 800 deals signed in Q3, 500 installs in Q3. So to put that into perspective, that's close to 4 megawatts that we installed in Q3 alone.
Yeah, it was an absolutely massive Q3, well over a 60% pull-through rate from sign to glass on roof, which is huge with the average industry, at 45 to 50% is what we're seeing most of the industry. That has a lot to do with each one of you selling solid deals, the Sentinel program pulling jobs through, and then our EPC partners. So grateful to everybody that made that happen.
Yeah, I really got to tip my hat to the Sentinel program. When you look at that industry standard, companies working with the exact same install partners we are, but our pull-through rate's up there at 62%. That has a lot to do with our Sentinel agents. I'm so grateful for that program. And it's unbelievable that people can go have the exact same pay scale, same red line, one company versus another, but make way more money here because of that pull-through rate.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to know those stats, because you're right, it's more kind of behind the scenes stuff, but we're taking company X versus Radix, company Y versus Radix, and you're right, the exact same EPC, the exact same install partner, and our pull-through rate percentage is much higher, and our time to install through the pipeline is much faster, and it has a lot to do with those Sentinel agents.
Well, a couple of people and regions to really recognize here. Wanted to recognize the Rooted region, the West region, Stetson Banks and crew, McCrae Foster. That whole region just dominated through Q3. 301 deals signed. Impressive quarter. In the number 2 spot, the Rowan region, California, 266 accounts sold. And then SunMac, the brand new region that, man, they had a dominant Q3, 229 accounts sold in Q3. Congrats to all the regions. Awesome to see.
Yeah, super impressive for each one of those. We had some amazing top reps. Jake Zimmer making a name for himself still out in South Carolina. 70 deals signed in Q3. Just right behind him, Jake Shreve, another one making a massive name for himself in Arizona, coming in with 62 signed deals. And then right behind him with 50 is Mr. Solar Greg. So in Dallas. So it's actually kind of fun to see each one of those coming from a different market and their signed deals. So super impressive to each one of those.
You know, I wanted to point out one thing with those top 3 reps. First of all, installs is what ultimately matters. And when you look at the top install rep in the company for Q3, it was Solar Greg. Super impressive with 40 installs in the quarter. The second thing that I wanted to point out about those numbers, if you go take 70 accounts in one quarter that Jake Zimmer signed, and then you go times that by 4 quarters, right? You've got 280 signed deals in a year. 70 accounts signed in a quarter is a blistering pace for Solar. You got to give props to that. And Shreve was right there with them. Both those guys just dominated Q3.
Yeah, unconscionable, really. Like their ability to go out, to see them on the ticker every day, and everybody else sees it, right? They become the pace setters for everybody else. So super impressive Q3 for everybody else. Great job on your efforts. Q4 is coming and it's here, right? We're 4 days into Q4, and the biggest talk is duos, right? It's October. It's a race for Pebble Beach. And with that competition happening at the end of last year, really kind of the first taste of NSL before we went and launched NSL for 2021. So now this is really the first competition with NSL that's getting its second round here in the program. So there is a lot of attention on the duos and what's going to happen there. And some of these teams, the brother teams that are happening, just some of these teams, I think it's going to get crazy.
Yeah, it's going to get really crazy. 2v2. We're going to take a foursome out there to Pebble Beach between the lead rep and the closers. It's going to be a ton of fun. That is a lifetime trip, right? It's check it off the bucket list. It's something that's so unique that we do within the National Sales League, and it pushes production like crazy. And I honestly look at the teams. I'm like, I don't know who's going to win. These teams are stacked.
Yeah, they've got to be ready to go compete. All expense paid to Pebble Beach. Remember that it's the top lead rep in the month. So every lead rep is competing against. We're going to take the top lead rep. So make sure you get those assists set.
It's good to be back in the studio. The perspective is so fun. We hope that it gives you a broader perspective of what's possible, and it helps you on your path to continue to build wealth so that you can live a life of purpose. We absolutely love all of you guys. When we hit that 2-year mark, it was wild because I'm like, how did 2 years already go by? Sometimes we forget how green the grass is right where we're standing. Depending on how we finish out Q4, our first year to our second year will be somewhere between 150% to 200% year over year growth, depending on how we finish out the year. That is astronomical. The grass is green right where you're standing. Go build wealth. Go live life with passion and with purpose. Thank you for tuning in for The Perspective.
Love you guys.